Hello, my name is Alex and today I'm going to talk to you about the Geko Tweezers. There are all kinds of gripping devices available for handling small objects, but the tool we use most for handling prosthetic devices is of course our fingers. And even if you're extremely careful, a minor accident can happen to anyone. And sometimes, especially when working on posterior teeth in patients with a smaller than average mouth, I'm sure that your fingers seem a little too short or cumbersome. Of course, you use conventional tweezers like these, but even though they are a vital tool for your day-to-day procedures, you know as well as I do that they have their limits. Their tips, whether serrated or diamond-coated, cannot be used to handle everything. Furthermore, the fact that they are not self-locking means that you must maintain a constant pressure on the handles for the duration of the whole procedure. So, if you work with an assistant, this makes it considerably more complicated to pass the tweezers back and forth to each other. You probably also have self-locking tweezers like these, but you know as well as I do that they are not very reliable, either because their locking mechanism becomes too difficult to open, or it becomes so loose that simply placing the tweezers on a table is enough to make them open all by themselves. So here is the solution, or rather the solutions that I want to share with you. For the most common procedures, I highly recommend you classic tweezers, which are simply cross-locking tweezers. Once they are closed and therefore in their passive rest position, there is absolutely no risk of accidentally releasing the object being held. And unlike conventional self-locking tweezers, to release the object in question, there is absolutely no need to struggle with any mechanisms. A light squeeze on the handles is all it takes. And if you want to increase the pressure on the object being held, instead of squeezing the back of the handles, you simply squeeze the handles closer to the tips, like this. If, like a growing number of dentists, you decide to try these tweezers, you will quickly discover that they make a large number of procedures much simpler and much safer, such as placing posts, for example. They make it much easier to pass objects back and forth between you and your assistant, and as a result, you also improve your productivity. Once your assistant has gripped the object you need using the tweezers, his or her hands are free to go about other tasks, such as answering the phone or opening the mail. Whereas with conventional tweezers, your assistant would need to stay by your side until you are ready to take the tweezers. And now, for more complex objects, allow me to introduce you Geko Tweezers. So, as you can see, these are cross-locking tweezers again, featuring jaws on which you can place ultra-flexible silicone tips, like this. And these tweezers also feature a screw here that allows you to adjust the amount of pressure on the object being held. Like all tweezers in the WAM Tweezers range, their passive closing mechanism prevents the tweezers from accidentally opening. Likewise, to release the object, you simply squeeze the back part of the handle. Now, let's talk about their gripping power. In fact, the flexibility and the grooves of the silicone tips ensure total effectiveness in over 90% of all cases. They are autoclavable and they can be left on the tweezers permanently. See how easily I am able to grip and manipulate this onlay. And I'm gripping it on its lingual and vestibular faces, of course. And as you can see, the grip is so strong that I can actually lift the Geko Tweezers with the onlay. You can therefore be absolutely confident that the Geko Tweezers will carry the onlay with absolutely no risk. And to be honest with you, this onlay became loose all by itself. And while trying to temporarily re-cement it using his fingers, the dentist who gave it to me had accidentally left it fall into his patient's throat. Needless to say, this instrument is truly useful. Sometimes you have to work with objects whose shapes are even more complex. And this is when you'll need Geko sticky paste, which comes in this 5 milliliter syringe. So you simply release a small amount of paste like this that you then place on one or both of the tweezers tips. So here I'm going to place it on only one side. And then hold this crown. And as you can see, the hold on this crown is absolutely perfect. Again, even using a single tip. And just like before, I can also lift the tweezers with the crown. So of course, the tweezers will be able to handle the crown very securely, you see. Now, sometimes we even handle crown by their occlusal surface by applying a small dab of paste like this to the Geko tips. And once again, you can see how easy and secure it is for me to manipulate this crown. The first benefit you will gain from this device is absolutely obvious. No more stress. You no longer face the slightest risk of dropping anything. And the second benefit is that you will make life much simpler for you and your assistant, who will simply need to grip the object, adjust the holding pressure of the tweezers, and put them down on your tray with all the other accessories needed for your procedure. His or her hands will then be free to go about any other tasks, such as preparing some coffee for you, why not? And that's not all. Geko Tweezers offer you one more advantage. When you have finished cementing a new crown, what do you usually do? You eliminate the excess cement. And depending on the type of cement used, this can be a time-consuming task, especially on proximal sides. I know we always manage eventually, but here is some advice to help you get the job done much faster and, above all, effortlessly. Once your crown is firmly gripped between the jaws of the Geko, apply a thin layer of separator, like Vaseline, on the mesial and distal sides of your crown. And do the same thing on the proximal sides of the adjacent teeth. Do you see what I'm getting at? A simple swipe of scaler will eliminate any excess cement. And that means even more time saved for you or for your assistant. Now, let's quickly review everything you can do with your Geko Tweezers. Cement a crown on the most posterior teeth, number 7 or 8. Cement a post core, handle an implant abutment, a post, cutting tools, and that's not all. You can use Geko paste to handle many other things as well. For example, look how a small dab of paste on the tip of my scaler can hold an inlay or an onlay. Do you make veneers? Again, place a small amount on the tips of your tweezers and slightly flatten it, like so, and place your veneer like this. It is now right in place, ready to be cemented. I'm sure that if you try Geko Tweezers, you will quickly discover that they are useful. No, what am I saying? Essential in many situations. But if you still have doubts or questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you for your attention and stay tuned for more innovations from WAM. Bye bye.